It was very interesting. I had no idea how many pipes and wires are underground at that intersection of Silver Lake and Zimmerman, including not one but two gas lines.
Oh, okay.
So, apparently you're not supposed to hit those when you're drilling.
I don't think so.
No. So that was kind of an adventure. And then I spent a lot of time working on writing up a request for proposals, or trying to write it up, for solid waste and recycling. And typically on those things, I will just go out and find a township who's done it recently and steal their things, because that's perfectly legit. But everything I find is really, really complicated. Like some of them are 70 pages long.
Okay.
So, and then I also found that the state has just issued an order to counties to begin reformulating their solid waste recycling plan. So there's a new county mandate that will complicate things a little further. So we will keep moving ahead. I'll probably end up working with legal, which I had hoped to avoid, but it's going to be necessary. And we have basically the first page in our packet today. We can talk about that, but it's going to take a little while. And that's your supervisor's report. There's no questions. We have a report from Mr. Janik, our consultant.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Beautiful day today.
Yes.
What could be more fun than spending at a meeting? This is my third meeting in 24 hours. I went to the city meeting last night, Little County meeting this morning, and now Garfield, so I'm working my way up in priorities, obviously. So, just an update on the search for the building official. The job was posted at various websites between March 20th and March 25th throughout the state, including all the building officials' websites, code officials' websites, Northern Michigan official websites. There's a lot of different organizations, so those are all posted. Phone started ringing, and as of this afternoon, because 2 came in this morning, I've received 27 applicants. Of the 27, 23 are from Northern Michigan. Many people in the construction business, builders. However, not a lot of them have experience as building officials, but we have 3 people that applied and 4, and another one that probably will be, that are current building officials. So that's a good sign. And as you know, there are some state requirements to be a building official. And so we have a lot of people that are applying that don't meet the qualifications. They are builders and have a lot of experience, but have not been inspectors or have been in that profession. So the deadline is April 23rd, so it's 2 weeks. I will continue working with Mr. Korn after that. I believe you want to form a committee to look at the applicants.
Yep.
And then decide who you wish to interview at that point. So we're making progress. But there are some good quality candidates, I think, on the resume. So, and several of them are in Northern Michigan, so they know this area. And, yeah.
Molly?
So are you pulling out everybody that's not certified?
I can do that. I will talk to Mr. Korn and ask him how he wishes to do that. We'll do it whatever you wish to do it. Some are very obvious, their resumes. You know, now with all these web search engines, people pay a fee, they put their resumes on, and to apply for a job, they just press a button. So some people are doing that who are not qualified. It'll be pretty easy to narrow the list down to the ones that are eligible. But I can do that, or you can do it as a committee, but it'd be pretty easy to get the list down.
Thanks.
The mixture is about 75% males, 25% females applying. Which I thought was interesting.
It's progress.
Yeah. And there are more females in the trades now, and some of those have applied.
Chuck, if they're not licensed,
Yeah.
how long does it take them, do you know, to get licensed if they decided to go that route?
Well, we actually had that situation in Little County. It takes about 2 years to get fully
Oh,
licensed.
jeez, okay.
But there are steps you can take to be interim. because actually the building official that currently is Lunenburg County, she was an inspector, but did not have she actually was a plan reviewer, did not have enough time in, but we were able to work through a state and get her a temporary certificate. I think you can be temporary up for 1 year, I believe. But for someone that's never been an inspector, who's not been involved, who's not been a plan reviewer, who's not been a building inspector, I don't think you'd want to hire someone like that. It'd be a long, steep learning curve. And you still would have to have a building official officially. What some counties have done, though, or townships or whoever, is they hire a retired building official to be the official of record while someone is being trained. But we can deal with that after we get through the candidates. But there are some good, high-quality, at least on paper, candidates. And some of them have called me, and they do have the experience and are fully certified.
Good.
So I'm optimistic that you'll find the right person. And your pay scale is very competitive, which I think a lot of people in the building trades are applying. They see the pay scale. They may not see the qualifications or may choose to think they can get the job and then meet the qualifications.
Take it till you make it.
Yeah, so we'll see. But in 2 weeks, I'll be working with Mr. Korn, and I believe what you wish to do is form a committee to review them.
I think the Personnel Committee will be the
That
designated
would
committee.
make sense.
We're all
And then
set.
decide how you wish to proceed after that and interview. And I'll help you with that process, going through and helping screen them. Because it's pretty easy to look at them and see which ones are potentially qualified and the ones that are not qualified. But they keep coming in on a pretty regular basis. I've got two came in since 9 o'clock this morning. So and usually, at least my experience have been, a lot of the more qualified ones kind of come in at the end. People wait till the end. So there's still 2 weeks to go, so we'll see. All right, any questions? All right,
Thank you.
I'll keep you updated.
Thank you.
Thank
And I've
you.
been giving you updates. I'll do another one in a week or so before the deadline, just so you know how the process come along and how many applicants there are. If any questions, feel free to give me a call.
Thanks, Chet.
All right, all right.
Thank
Good night.
We will now move on to unfinished business. Item A is consideration of a contract for engineering services for the Barlow South Airport Boardman Trail Loop connection.
Thank you. Good evening, Jennifer Graham, Gordy Frazier. I know this has been in front of you guys in several forms and fashions, and I think I've finally unconfused myself, and so it's a process for all of us. I mean, this has been presented through the planning department, Park and Rec, even county ARPA application for quite a significant trail to connect to the Boardman Lake Loop. So through quite a bit of level of research, and I want to thank Chloe for her help with the map that you sent me earlier today, definitely, I appreciate, and I believe everybody has at their seat now the corrected, updated contract that reflects all the correct language and identifies the true scope of what we're going to do. Because as I said, there's been several versions of this floating around. So at this point, to utilize Township ARPA funds, the extent of the trail that we're proposing in our contract tonight to get formally approved by the board is to take it from South Airport near Team Bob's and go east and then cross the road and start running north along Barlow and tie in near Gladewood is the limits at this point right now. And then the intentions to hopefully pursue additional funds, whether through safe routes. I just sent a grant opportunity to, I believe, planner and supervisor this afternoon. MDOT has some additional funding opportunities through their non-motorized transportation. So there is quite a bit of other opportunities available for funding for this project. But yeah, what's presented tonight is for the limits that I just identified. But I am happy to entertain any questions that you guys have for me. Great.
So we would be looking for a motion to approve this contract.
I would make a motion that we approve the contract for the South Airport and Barlow Road Trail Extension.
Support.
We have a motion and support to approve the contract as presented. Any questions or comments? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Gustinelli.
Yes,
Horn.
Yes.
Thank you. And again, I truly appreciate the opportunity to work on this, so I thank you. For clarification, for ARPA appropriations, now when, Chloe, you had mentioned to be under contract, is that engineering contract, construction contract, just so that I can identify a timeline?
The construction contract,
Okay.
too, has to be before the end of the year.
Okay, so that's kind of how the contract's written, but I just wanted to clarify that, so, okay, because some of this will require coordination and some easements, which we've already had survey out starting that work, and I'll work through staff on that, but thanks for that clarification.
I have a little question for you. So if we apply for the grants that you were talking about and we happen to get a grant and we've already designated ARPA funds, can we make that transition and use the grant money and not use the ARPA funds?
Yes.
Yeah, sure,
Yes.
yeah. It's hard to say, I haven't looked, I just know that when that grant came out, I was thinking further north onto the route, because it's due in June. I anticipate they're probably not going to identify and make the funds available this year.
Too late.
It's hard to say for timing. I don't know, I haven't dove into it enough, it just came through my desk today. So we'll look at it, but yeah, that would be great. Anytime we can piggyback off of extra grants.
Because we can find another spot, to
Sure.
move money.
But if it's not till June, we probably won't be able to know anything till this project is almost done and over with.
Well, we have 8 months to complete the commitment process and have contracts. But the later we get, the more
Right.
tricky it gets, because there seems to be a shortage of everything still.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is consideration of contracts with Civic Clarity, also known as Accunet, for website services, and New Moon Vision for branding services. John?
Yes, as you recall, the board designated 50,000 of the ARPA money to go towards branding services and website design services. So there was a RFP that was issued back in January, and we received 35 proposals. The review committee, which consisted of Supervisor Horn, Treasurer McCumber, and Trustee Barchef, along with staff, myself, Kathleen Roon, and Karen Lever, we went through all those proposals and narrowed it down to about 4 vendors, and actually we interviewed all 4 of them, and from that came with the recommendation for this team of Civic Clarity and New Moon Vision. So Civic Clarity is the one that does a lot of township government websites, and then New Moon Visions does a lot of branding services. So they teamed up together. We thought it was the most thorough of the proposals, had a lot of detail, really kind of covered all the bases that the committee was kind of hoping to see that would really provide good benefit and service to the township. So that's the recommendation in front of you, is for those contracts. We did have the township attorney, Scott Howard's office, reviewed those, did come back with a response this afternoon, and there are some real fairly minor changes. Did contact Civic Clarity, and they're okay with the changes. Have not heard yet from New Moon Visions, but they were fairly minor as well, but we expect that they would meet our requirements in terms of what the township attorney has reviewed. So I just realized that in the report itself, my cover memo doesn't really say the amounts, but the Civic Clarity amount, the contract is for $9,850 plus $485 for the first year of service, for a total of $10,535. And then the New Moon Visions contract is for $29,800. So for a total of $40,135 for the total project cost. So that does allow for, obviously the amount is 50,000, so that if there's any contingencies, those would be covered. Otherwise, that could be reappropriated for other ARPA projects.
So we are looking for a motion to approve these two contracts with the modifications that were suggested by our attorney.
I make a motion that we approve the contract for website service with Civic Clarity, AccuNet, be approved with the modifications.
Support.
We have a motion and support on the first contract. Are there any questions? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Barshak.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
Gustinelli.
Yes,
Corn.
Yes.
I make a motion that the contract for branding services for New Moon Visions be approved
support.
With the modifications.
with the modifications. I'm sorry,
you.
thank you.
Per attorney.
For attorney, yes.
All right. We have a motion and support on the branding contract as presented with modifications. Any questions or comments? And another roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Gustinelli.
Yes,
McManus.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Barshak.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
And Corn.
Yes. And item C is consideration of an invitation to bid solid waste and recycling services. And this, when I put this in here, I thought I would have it ready, so I am not ready, so we will table that for future consideration, if everyone's okay with that.
Oh, are they here?
Thanks for coming.
Next is new business. Item A is discussion of trustee salary. And we have a little bit of a question on the current language in the resolution to approve the trustee's salary. And it is based on, at the bottom, it's $425 per month with an additional $250 per town board meeting and $125 for assigned meetings, including, it lists all the meetings. And one of the meetings that's listed is study sessions. And we have, the question is, if somebody is on a assigned meeting to one of these and they have study sessions, would those be paid? A $50 non-decision-making meeting, or $125 since it is a study session? I
It's a
wasn't real-
recommending board, it's a subcommittee on one of the boards, and it's a recommending board to that board. Is that a study session, or is that a $50 non-decision-making meeting? We need to clarify this, because I get questioned, the auditors are here today, they pull pay sheets, and they ask me these questions, because they have a list of all the meetings, and I have to pay per this agreement. I have to. And so if I call and ask a question, it's because they've asked me these questions in the past. So we need to get this clarified, so I don't have to call and ask people. Now, is this a recommending board? Is this a $50 meeting, or is this a $125 meeting?
So one of my comments is, one of the committees that's missing from this board is the building committee that Denise and Chuck and I sit on. That needs to be listed in here. And when we've met on that committee, we've sorted through stuff, but not, it came to the board. So we went through things and we sorted through it. So when we go to subcommittees or special board meetings or study sessions, where this is coming from me, is I showed Molly tonight a design at the Cathedral Park. We had several meetings where we met with SHPO, the State Historical Society, a study session or subcommittee off of Joint Rec. They had me be on that committee because I'm a builder and I have tons of years of experience in remodeling, which this is right up that alley. We came up with designs, then SHPO was out of it, we did a preliminary design, we met back with SHPO again, then we did another meeting, and we accomplished so much in these drawings that the architect at the last joint rec meeting last week said that we are 1 month ahead of schedule now for going out for bids, because we got so much done on these drawings. And as we were discussing stuff and I was throwing ideas out there, he was actually altering the drawings, because it was via Zoom on the screen, which was kind of cool because we could all see what he was doing, and stuff was getting implemented. So the way I look at it as, when I think of a non-decision-making meeting, what I remembered it came up with was when Molly would attend Metro and sit out in the audience as an alternate so that she could keep up on what was going at Metro, but had no input. But she wanted to be there in case I think it wasn't on the seat. She could step in and would be up. So the way I look at it is, we have meetings where the building committee, where we meet, I put down 125 for that. We're making decisions, we're making concept ideas, and these meetings that we've had at Joint Rec have been intense last month because of all the stuff that has gone on. And I was in another meeting where we were talking about renewing the management positions and thinking of that park and realizing from like John's point of view with parking, I'm sitting here thinking, we're developing this park bigger and bigger, and parking is gonna get worse and worse and worse, and they're not willing to add parking. And so, talking to the management person there, and you've got all these entities trying to take care of booking stuff, so the Botanical Gardens could book a wedding, and then the Cathedral Barn has a wedding, and then they get together and they go, oh my God, we got 2 weddings on the same grounds. So I had said, well, maybe we should have these entities get together and form one manager to oversee the whole park. You know, how would the sub-entities, the Cathedral Barn, Seeds, Community Gardens all feel about increasing Stephanie's wage, and she's the manager that oversees all the booking on the grounds. So that got talked about and implemented and went a step farther. Now they've had committees off on the side without our involvement to talk to her, and then that's gonna come back. So there's been a lot accomplished in these meetings, and they are time consuming, and it takes away from our days because these meetings aren't at night, they're always during the day. So my point is I feel from any trustee's point of view here, if we're involved in a meeting and we're coming up with concepts and ideas and making decisions on which routes to go with stuff possibly, those are not non-decision-making meetings. To me, a non-decision-making meeting is what I always thought it was somebody that's attending a meeting and observing it for the better of the township or to stay up to date on stuff that might come up if they take a seat. And that's my point.
Molly?
The way I'm reading this is $125 for assigned meetings, including personnel, planning commission, recreation authority, fire board, parks, joint recreation commission, special board meetings, study sessions, and zoning board of appeals. So they would be $125, not $50 from this.
Because it was a study session, you're saying?
The study session part that you were questioning would be, yeah, you might be there for 5-6 hours, you know, I mean, I agree, I
We
think it's
threw a
part
lot
of
of stuff out and it went well.
It's not just you, I mean, everybody's got their deal, but according to,
And we do need to add building committee in here.
What we
That is
Yeah,
missing.
I thought building committee was in
Yeah,
there.
I noticed it and I wrote it down.
but according to what we have here, study sessions are part of that.
I think when we originally did this, the study sessions we contemplated were board study sessions. So that was why I was uncomfortable just,
Having it that
Yeah.
way.
so it's not a, you know, the document itself is the legitimate reason for doing things.
Sure.
So that's what our
But this one says study session, it doesn't say board study session.
Correct. But
would
it
be
also doesn't say
125.
building.
Right.
I think some of the
does-
committees we're on, when they form, so this is the big committee, right? And then there's committees under this, and then there's subcommittees under that.
This is the legislative body.
Okay, so it's the legislative body, but we have committees that we are on below this, and then those committees break off into subcommittees or study sessions to gather information and work through stuff, so it doesn't take the whole board to be there, and then they come back with concepts.
Yep.
So you are getting things done, you are coming up with ideas, you are killing ideas that may not come to the board, but even if we kill ideas and it comes back to the board, me as a trustee, I tell them, I'll say, you know, there was a thought about doing this, and we chose not to do that because of this. And if somebody in the committee that we're introducing it to doesn't like that, they might say, well, wait a minute, I kind of think that is a good thing, and we should relook at that. So even though we take something off the table, I always mention it, because somebody might have another thought that a select few on that subcommittee didn't have. And there was a boatload done in this. Molly knows, I showed her the plans. These two barns are off alignment, and we came up with a subfloor in 206 to feed mechanicals and plumbing through, and it saved us from hindering the ceiling in the lower level. And at first, SHPO was against it because we were moving the floor to the windows, and I'm like, well, you know, Brian, look at all the windows. They're all the same height.
But
And
just to keep it into context, this is all
if I,
related to your experience on this one committee. And do we want to, every time somebody is on a subcommittee that meets for 15 minutes at any assigned duty, should we increase it to $125? That's the question. And as I said, it's not a,
When do you have a 15-minute meeting?
we do occasionally.
Maybe we could add a subcommittee section on here. I mean, that was my question. I didn't know, because I want it clarified.
Yeah.
or we trust our trustees, to be honest. I didn't feel I charged for the wrong meetings when I did my, and I know a lot of this is based on my last timesheet, because I was like, holy cow, I've had like 5 sub-joint committees on joint rec, but we got a lot done. And then I'm looking at the sheet going, we didn't sit back and they weren't non-decision making. We made hordes of decisions, and these meetings were hours long. And I think if we trust our trustees to fill these out properly, I don't know, or we got to change the verbiage and be more specific.
That's what I'm asking, is to be more specific. I said, I just have to clarify, so when I get asked by the auditors, I can answer what would actually went on. Not policing, I just have to answer, I have to be able to pay per this agreement.
Molly?
Well, when I'm looking at the $50 meetings, I'm looking more at a voluntary situation. If I want to go and attend the Metro Board because I might be an alternate and I want to keep up on what's going on, but that's a volunteer situation for me. I don't have to be there. If I sign up for a committee and, the planning
You
commission.
volunteer.
Every other, you do volunteer, but every other meeting of the planning commission is a study session.
Right.
Are we changing that to a $50? I mean, we might be there for,
That is,
and the education to get to the meeting is pretty extensive too, so,
but that's a meeting of the full board and,
of the planning commission. Yeah, yeah. But called a study session, so,
Yep.
yeah. I don't know, I'm okay with it. You won't have, I know you have a lot of them right now, but
We're done now.
Then you
We're-
won't
The plans
have
are here.
any more.
The plans are done and they're being quoted, so
yeah.
it took us a lot to get to it. No different than building a house. You're gonna meet with the architect a lot, and that's what we did. And I don't think it's gonna happen again. I just kept going. And then I was trying to figure out how in the heck I'm gonna make these things, because, it was right in the middle of my days. So I was like, wow. But I based it on that, and I know Laney and I talked, and I'm like, I'm just basing it on what's written, so.
Right.
And I talked to Chuck about it, I said, I just want to clarify it. I don't want to call anybody, I just want to clarify it.
Yeah.
So the clarification is, we add building committee, do we need to add subcommittees on here as a $125 meeting so that I know, or what do we need to do?
I think that would be your best bet.
Study sessions for those committees, for the assigned meeting committees would be included. I mean,
Okay.
and that's my suggestion. I mean, if you're on a assigned meeting, you might have rec authority, you might sit and have the board, but then he's doing all this extra work to help put these plans together.
To bring it back to the rec authority.
And you might, you're on the parks, you might have half a day of sitting down that's not really a parks meeting, but you might have a committee there that's running roads or something else into the park that, you sit down with our parks guys,
Right.
talk about. If it's not related to the things that you're assigned to, then I would say no, but it's just me.
Can I hear from our two quiet members?
I'm
Chris?
thinking,
You're thinking?
yeah.
Is that
Me
what we
too,
hear?
me too, I'm thinking, don't call on me.
No, so, like, just listen to the conversation, Steve has knowledge in building, and that our job is to make decisions on things. So if we're hiring an architect to do the work, put plans together, that architect's gonna come to us, educate us, and we're gonna say, yes, we like this, we don't like this. I don't know if this is a case where Steve's knowledge and experience and his passion created a need for more meetings, his detailedness in building. I don't know if that's the case and that was the reason, but you said something that, we should be trusted. We're elected officials, we should be trusted to be honest and ethical with the taxpayers' money and do the job that we feel like we need to do to represent our taxpayers. So I feel like from that end, I could support the amount of time it took you to do that. I do think it needs to be clear, a little bit clearer to make sure that we don't have this confusion ever again, and for your purposes.
Yeah, right.
Could you put just subcommittees on here at $125? Is that something that could be done?
We could,
How about if I clarify it all from what has been said and bring it back to the board for you to vote on it next week?
we could have a resolution.
Yep.
As a subcommittee, you could, Steve could say, I'm a little light in my budget this week at home, so I'm going to take the other people on the committee, and we're going to have 10 meetings, right? But it's the honesty part that I think that we're not going to do that.
Right.
So I think that, clearly explaining it, I think is going to take care of any issues we have in the future. So.
As long as it's clear, that's the
Yep.
main thing.
Absolutely.
In these committees, I didn't drive the next committee meeting, just so you know.
I'm just saying that could be a
We
way,
had
that could be unethical.
at least 6 people involved in these committees, so, we had quite a few, and it was stages. So first of all was he came in with a design, and SHPO had to look at it and say, no, I don't like the coloring, or you're taking too much history away.
Totally.
I want to see this, I want to see that, and then there was a redesign talk, and then a comeback to SHPO again. So it was chronologically based by Ray, whatever his name is, the architect.
Kendra.
So it was an odd month, but when he proposed this or came back last Wednesday with these plans, and he's like, I can't believe we're a month ahead of schedule. That never happens because of everything we got done. I was like, well, cool, that's good. And they're dealing with Leo money, Leo something. They're dealing with some ARPA monies or something. I never asked the question what they were meaning by Leo.
Okay.
There's some funding there that has to be contracted by a certain time to not lose with Leo.
Yeah, I think it's some kind of a economic development fund.
Could be. I didn't want to ask.
have to
'cause I
look it
wasn't-
up.
I should have asked, because I didn't know what Leo was. Maybe a line or
So
something.
this will come back at our next meeting?
Yes,
Leo the light.
Thank you.
we will write it up for your, Chloe, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, but I would say that if we update this form, we should also update the resolution that we passed
Yeah.
to
The
be.
resolution has to be updated, so that's why I'll bring back to the board next
Yeah,
week.
and just
Clarify it. I
also
just want
clarifying the non-decision-making meetings, if we could have some like examples, I think that would help, you know? Just even listed out here what those include, that would be helpful.
Well,
Chris?
I was always under the impression the non-decision-making meeting was where you didn't make it, like, you didn't have a quorum, you didn't make a decision, kind of like this. It didn't mean anything, it was a discussion, information gathering. So I was way off,
Yeah.
based on my interpretation of that.
That's what I interpreted it as, and that's why I called and asked, and I took him what he said. I didn't change his timesheet, just had to clarify.
It's a joint recreation committee, which to me raises a little bit of red flag, because the city doesn't pay the people on that committee for anything.
oh, that's the city, though.
I know, but, and the other two members from Garfield don't collect anything.
They can.
They could, yes.
We allow them to. Yep.
So it's,
City can't pay because they got ambulance service now.
But we'll bring a resolution to the next meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome. New business, item B, consideration of applying for a federal grant for energy-related projects through the Community Energy Management Program. So this is something that just broke, and it's new and exciting. But it does give us we have some HVAC equipment that is on its last legs, so we could upgrade, bring in new equipment, and bring in equipment that's more efficient. And that would qualify under this program.
Can I say something?
Certainly.
This is the most boring read in the 12 years that I've been here.
Welcome to Eagle.
I'm sorry. I almost fell asleep reading it.
It's it is a board decision if we want to take part in this, and I can't imagine not doing it, but
Absolutely.
Who's gonna do the work, put it together? Is that John? I'm just
probably our engineer for the most
Jennifer.
part, yeah.
putting it together.
Yes, she has tons of free
I don't think there's
time.
gonna be anybody sitting here, so.
Do we need a motion on this?
I would say a motion to pursue the,
Grant opportunity?
Yes.
I make a motion that we pursue the grant opportunity from Eagle.
Support.
we have a motion and support to pursue the Community Energy Management Program grant opportunity.
Just a little conversation then. So, do we have a list? I'd like to get up to that $100,000 if I can get there.
I think we might be able to do that.
Okay. I mean, the windows in this building are old, might be insulation, there might be other, like an EV station. You know, there might be other things
Yeah.
that,
I'd like to be able to open it.
I don't know what they all would be, but
Be able to open
Yeah, well,
get it,
we'll go all in.
okay.
Should we meet with the building committee and see what we want to propose? Or just have
Let's, we'll wait,
Jennifer?
yeah, we'll
to
wait for,
Jennifer's?
Jennifer
Okay.
gets us a report, and then maybe we'll get the building committee together.
Okay, perfect.
Good. Yeah, okay,
All right,
got to vote.
last.
No, we have to
Gotta
vote.
vote.
Oh, whoa. We have a motion and
Sorry.
support. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. Item C under new business is consideration of proposals for the township's information technology support services. And Laney used to work in this business, so we'll let her take the lead on this.
Okay. Well, VC3 bought out IT Right.
I'm sorry, what did you say? I didn't hear you.
VC3 bought out IT Right.
Okay,
We used to have IT Right, They did phenomenal work. They responded quickly. It was a good, really good organization. So VC3 bought it. It's nationwide services. They left us without a server for a week. We were completely down for a week while we waited for them to get us up and running 2 years ago. And then it went down again, and it took days to get them back. And anytime we call, it's just, they don't respond. And so we looked into this high-tech. I called references, everybody's been really happy with them. They're in a Michigan-based, they are downstate, but they have local technicians, companies that they work with, that they could get somebody on site that day if we needed them. It's a little bit more, it's about, $384 more a year.
But if you're not happy with
We aren't
three
happy.
and they put you down for a week,
There is an initial $2,500 or $3,500 fee to get them set up and get us all onto their system.
Right.
But that would be an initial fee, but then it would be about $384. The Microsoft licensing is a wash. We pay that much, basically that much with VC3.
Yeah.
So it's $384 plus the initial setup fee.
so my thing is, if you're not happy with what you have and you're down for a week, that's crazy. I would be willing to pay more money for a company that's gonna be here, and even if it costs $3,500 to set up, so be it.
Well, another thing is VC3, we were trying to replace our computers yearly, keep them all up to date. They build them, so once we leave their company, I mean, somebody will have to come in and fix them, but they're not warranted at all. This high-tech uses a, what did they say? Did you remember?
I think HP.
HP computers that are warranted. So even if we leave them, we still have a warranty with HP. We don't have these nondescript computers that we're working with.
Yeah, because if you're not happy with them next year, you have the HPs and.
And
a
it's
lot of
gonna be
people, they could-
warranted, yeah.
mhm.
So,
Molly?
Do we have all of their computers here? Is there a little glitch in there so that we're gonna have to replace them all, or?
no, they're all still up and running, but they're not warranted. But we have like 4 or 5 that are on their last I mean,
So
we're
we'd
gonna
have to
replace them
buy-
anyway.
Mhm.
I didn't want to replace them with their
Yeah.
computers if we were thinking about moving and I could do an HP computer.
Can I make a motion that we go with high-tech for our information technology support service?
I can support it.
Yep. Could we make that motion to have a discussion with High Tech about,
Oh, you
just
haven't
to make sure?
Oh,
set
we
it up
haven't had
yet.
that.
We have had a discussion, but I'd like to,
You want a formal something, huh?
yeah,
So how would you like me to, I thought you already had that discussion.
give the
We did have
supervisor.
the discussion. And you came in and you talked to him, didn't you?
I talked to him, yeah,
Yeah.
but
I
since.
want a formal agreement.
Right.
This is a
Okay.
proposal, yeah.
So you're gonna bring
That's,
that
that's
back.
where things get sketchy sometimes.
We need
so-
to do it, we need to do it soon.
Right,
If it comes back matching the proposal, I would like to move forward because the VC3 I need to pay by the 18th of March.
March,
I'm sorry, it was 30 days by
April?
April.
so that's before our next meeting.
Yes, it is.
yeah, so we just want the authority to go ahead and
Oh.
get a contract and,
I make the authority that you get go ahead and get a contract with high-tech then.
I'll support that.
any questions or comments?
And if it matches the 15,984, we're good.
Under
If we're
these.
comfortable with the terms of the contract, yes.
So, I'm only asking this from the experience I just went through working with the county and replacing a bunch of computers in my department. You know, with Dell, they buy them through Dell, you get a certain amount of years of warranty. Every 5 years, we replace them because they show their age. Do we have a comprehensive technology plan at the township, or do we kind of rely on the company that we contract with to sort that out for us?
We have relied on the company that we contract with to do that, and it's
IT Right used to have a comprehensive plan, and they knew the age of all of our computers, and they would recommend that we replace certain ones, and we would agree with that. They would ask us, but we have the age of every computer in the building. And, some of the departments need a little bit more, like Amy has a lot of things on her computer because of her job, so hers needs to be a little step up. Kathleen's at the front desk might not need to be as
As powerful.
thank you. So yes, we used to have one with IT Right. VC3 hasn't followed up on it.
Okay.
I had to ask them about replacing computers, and they said, oh, yeah, it took them 3 months to get back with me on replacing a computer. 3 months before I could get a proposal just to replace a computer.
Okay, so this agreement that we signed will be just for the maintenance part. It's not gonna cover hardware.
No,
Okay.
this is just all maintenance.
That's the question.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks, Chris,
we'll
for
still have
asking
to purchase hardware, but that's always the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my question, Chris, thank you.
But this guy, actually, when I was talking to him about it, he said they do a comprehensive plan for us, and they recommend us so often changing, which we would like to do anyway.
Perfect.
All right, so we have a motion and support to enter into a contract negotiations with High Tech. Any other questions or comments? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Schmuckel.
Yes,
Augustinelli.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Duel.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
Corn.
Yes. We are back to public comment. Last chance. Get on TV.
no, thank you.
We will close public comment, come back to the board for any other business.
I know we talked about who was gonna make it to the next meeting. I am not. And I know they were worried about quorums, so 2 weeks from now, I will not be here.
On the 23rd, I'll be here.
Well, we'll be at the conference, but it ends at 5 anyway, so I'll be here.
I'll be here.
No.
And I'll be here.
Sounds like we have a quorum.
Sounds like we got a
I know somebody had
Yeah.
mentioned about, they were
Yeah,
worried
we
about
were,
it, so.
well, we didn't know what the conference.
Are you going
was.
someplace fabulous?
Nope,
No.
the barn. We have a trainer coming in, and I'm not gonna waste the expense and his knowledge.
To come to
We're
a
very
meeting.
lucky to have him coming, so.
There we go. Any other business?
Question, so you're gonna have this plan for the waste hauler next time?
I may. It is far more complex than I had envisioned. I will
Okay,
tell you that I was mistaken, thinking I was just gonna do a little copy and paste and rock and roll.
doesn't work that way, does it?
Didn't work that way, no.
Okay.
Anything else for the good of the township? And if there are no objections, we stand adjourned.
Go enjoy the night.